think it's BS, but the reality is that nowadays product is your ticket to play the game, and how you win the game is brand.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Manesh Palli Show. Today's guest is very special. Martin, welcome to the show.
But then you mentioned the iGaming. The iGaming is one of those markets where brand and marketing becomes increasingly more important because there is no innovation. We are the XYZ AI-driven everyone. But the reality is that consumer doesn't care about that. I need a fractional CMO for iGaming. I know Manesh is the best because he constantly was building his brand. He lives rent-free in my brain. Would you start building the house from the roof, or would you start building the house from the foundation? Great brands are simple brands, but simplicity is expensive and is complex.
I'm your host, Manesh Palli, the fractional CMO for iGaming and tech businesses. I work with founders and CEOs and build brands that stand out and dominate. Join me as I speak with founders and leaders about what it really takes to grow, lead, and keep going. This episode is sponsored by Betorify. For operators who are tired of generic platforms out there and who are looking for better experience, Betorify offers white label and turnkey solutions that are beyond ordinary and built for Asia. Betorify's approach is focused on providing every operator the VIP service they deserve to launch and scale their iGaming business effortlessly. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Manesh Palli Show. Today's guest is very special, someone that I really admire for LinkedIn and in the branding world. He's a full stack brand builder, co-founder of Factory 39, as well as international speaker who lives and breathes brand. So Martin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Manesh. Thanks for being here. I've been looking forward for this conversation and to geek out on brand and marketing with someone else that lives and breathes it like yourself.
I hear a lot from the founders. If we build a great product, people will come. What do you have to say about those people who believe in product-led growth only and nothing else?
I think it's BS. It is so for a number of reasons. I think that was true for the last century. That was true when products were innovative. That was true when consumers were not very savvy. That was true when markets were not very saturated. But the reality is that nowadays product is your ticket to play the game, and how you win the game is brand. And that is true for a number of reasons, and it's been proven by a number of research and a number of white papers. But number one is that your product is not either that unique or that incredibly powerful as you think it is, because at any given time in any market, even if your product is blue ocean to start with, it's mega innovative. Chances are that next week out of China, Mr. Liu will already have matched your product on features and innovation in a week, spending
Yeah.
about half the price of that, right? So innovation is hard to defend. Innovation is no more a key differentiator, and innovation also is not something that will set you apart. And then every single market is saturated. Every single market is saturated. There are a lot of different options. The consumers are bombarded with advertisement. They're bombarded with choices. They're bombarded with spreadsheet features and all sorts of things. So there is also something really interesting happening right now in the head of any type of consumer, B2B or B2C, which
Mhm.
is choice fatigue. We have too much choice. So we end up buying what we understand the best. We end up buying what is in front of our eyes. We end up buying what we trust the best. And that is no more necessarily the best product as we mentioned. Even if you look around you, your laptop, even the software we're streaming through, your mobile phone, your car, your fridge, you name it, those might not be, and probably they are not the actual best product on feature, but it's a brand that for some reason you ended up understanding, you ended up trusting. So And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you don't need to have a good product. I think having a good product is the lowest possible benchmark nowadays. That
Hmm.
product allows you to play the game, but you have to win the game by being the best brand that is able to connect in the best way with your ideal customer better than the other of your competitors. And Manesh, how many times my clients tell me we have the best product and yet
Yeah.
we are not winning. We are superior and yet our competitor is doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x.
Yeah. And how many amazing products we have seen just fail, even in your experience, like in our course of life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think even in the AI age now, right? I see a lot of
Hmm.
startup using pretty much the same framework. We are the
Yeah.
XYZ AI driven XYZ. Everyone, but
Leading,
again, AI
AI powered,
leading, for
leading.
example, AI leading, AI power, the number one. But the reality is that consumer doesn't care about that. Consumer
Mm.
cares to have a product that is easier to choice, to choose among all others, a product that does the job, but also is a product that for them is easier to understand. And that's the power of a brand as well.
So it's more like an outdated concept, would you say, or is still true for, products like ChatGPT? Of course, when it came out, it was probably the one of the fastest go-to-market products. But how often are we going to see ChatGPT like innovative products? Especially if we have to
Yeah,
consider
correct.
iGaming.
Yeah, correct. I think first adopters and
Hmm.
companies that come first in a specific market with something completely revolutionary, they do have an advantage that they're able to track. If they're smart, they're able to attract and maintain a big number of consumers that once inside their ecosystem, they will be simply lazy to move around. Like, I'm
Hmm.
using ChatGPT for a number of years. I'm not even considering changing application because I've been there for a number of years. It's part of my ecosystem, is integrated into my workflow, into my life. Why
Yeah.
should I change everything, go somewhere else? And pretty much with iOS as well, with the iPhone as well. Like, I have the watch, I have the MacBook, I have the iPhone. I hate iPhones now because for the last 10 years, they haven't done jack shit.
Hmm.
They're boring phones. I am craving to get a Samsung that folds and open
Really?
up and I can play around. I really love those products and they are really pushing boundaries and they're being innovative. But I am not gonna change because I'm lazy. I don't wanna move out of the iOS Apple ecosystem. I've been comfortable there for a number of years. Why should I
Hmm.
go and change everything? So there is also that true. But then you mentioned the iGaming. I think the iGaming is one of those markets where brand and marketing becomes increasingly more important because there is no innovation.
Yeah.
Not at all.
We've been seeing almost the same type of products. Like online casino, I think came around probably in the early 2000, whatever. Since then, pretty much the box, the main product, whatever it is, it's still the same. The way the games work and the way the platforms and aggregators, almost the same. They've been saying recently, though, like AI powered. We see AI powered everywhere, but this has been existing since 5, 6 years as machine learning and other technologies. So they're just like rewording it because they want to jump on the trend. But really, there's no big innovation, like you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. I think last year or 2 years ago was blockchain, right? All of a sudden, everything
Mm,
was blockchain. Now, all of a sudden, everything is AI. Don't get me wrong, I love AI. AI changed my life. And I think AI is one of the most fundamental and probably longer lasting trend that we will have in terms of technology advancement. But ultimately, everything will be AI.
yeah,
So if you have AI in your brand description, if you have AI into your product description, it means nothing. and
yeah.
and consumers don't really care about AI. They care about what AI does for them, right? So and that is the fundamental difference. What is the human problem or the business problem or whatever problem that you're solving from your clients? You can do it with AI, blockchain. You can do it with brick and stone. It doesn't matter, but you have to do it in a way that the consumer understand it. And yeah, gaming is interesting. It's a healthy market. It's heavily saturated, and it's one of those places where there is very little understanding still about what branding and marketing truly is. And it's
Yeah.
actually one of those places where they should invest the most, because their product is not unique. They're operating in very competitive markets, right? There are millions of gaming companies doing the same thing, and
Hmm.
and the product that they have is not unique. The mechanics of those games are the same. Even when you go to aggregators, the reality, fundamentally how they do things, very very
It's the
similar.
same. Yeah.
The product in iGaming, the product is not able to drive differentiation. So if the product is not able to drive differentiation, the answer should be the brand. How we look, how we perceived, how we connect, how
Yeah.
we are able to be perceived differently, even though we are not different. That
Yeah.
that feeling, that emotion that we give to the user. I want this iGaming provider, I want this game, I want this aggregator versus all the others, because that brand understands me better, or I connect better with them, or it's a brand that I remember better. It's on top of my mind. It's like buying a car,
Yeah.
Manesh. Like,
Hmm.
I wish you all the best, and maybe you can change car every year,
Hmm.
but the normal person will change a car every 5, every 10 years. But once you need to change a car, you already know that you have these three brands. You're not going to start Googling car maker, manufacturer, which car should I buy. You
Of
already have an
course.
idea,
Yeah.
because in those 5, 10 years, those brands manage to own a little compartment in your brain, that when you're thinking about car, you're thinking about that. For
Yeah.
example, Manesh, if I tell you energy drink, what is the first thing that comes into your mind?
Red Bull. Yeah.
If I tell you red car,
Ferrari. No one remembers the second one or the third one, or
correct,
this
correct.
kind
You
of
can
things.
try.
Yeah.
You can try this game. You can try this game, and you will be immediately able to recall the
Hmm.
number one leader of any given category. But the second one will be hard, and the third one
Yeah.
will be hard, even harder, right? So there is no point to be number two or number third. But again, we are not saying that Ferrari does the best cars or Red Bull is the best energy drink.
Yeah.
Mm, By far not, right? What we are saying is that these brands manage, throughout their brand and marketing, and throughout their consistent activation of these business enablers, be positioned in a way to be the first product that you recall.
Yeah.
And that's, again, is the product of brand.
It does make sense, like on a macro level, right? Like, but when we look at startups, um, I talk to a lot of founders, a lot of CEOs, startups, or sometimes also fast growing companies, and they still treat branding like a nice to have or something that's on the side. You know,
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like you've worked with a lot of tech startups, iGaming as well. And
yeah.
what do you think they often like? What is required for them to kind of consider brand before anything else? Because I know a lot of companies, they invest million or more in a product. They keep building for 8 months, 1 year, and then once they want to launch the product, they don't want to invest anything in brand and marketing. They just want to product to flourish. So what is it that we need to change in terms of creating that belief, or what shifts does this need to happen? Because I see a lot of them all the time, over and over again.
In the moment that your service and product leaves the organization
Yeah.
and reaches a customer, it generates an emotion, it generates a perception. That is your brand. So it's not a matter of wanting to be a brand. It's a matter of, do you want to be a brand by chance, or do you want to be a brand by choice? Do you
Mhm.
want to control your story in a way that it will generate positive returns into you, or do you want to be just leave it out of a chance? And because the competition is so fierce, you cannot leave it out of chance. You need to control that story. Why is it important for startups? Because startups have limited amount of time, limited
Mhm.
amount of money, and they need to prove returns. You do that by having a good brand. If you don't know what to do, how to do it, why to do it, and why you matter more than all your competitors, how are you gonna understand the rules of the game, win the game, be able to beat your competitors, and be able to connect with a consumer better than any other, your
But
product will not survive.
Martin, we want leads now. Like we want to go live with them. We want to check how our product works. We want to get these leads or sales through events, through word of mouth, through network, and we want to see how our product works before we start
Perfect.
brand, before we start marketing, because we were not sure. Maybe we need to pivot somewhere else. Maybe we need to change the business concept. We don't know because we are a bit afraid because we are a startup and we don't want to just start throwing money at brand and not sure when we will get return. This is what I keep
100%. I don't.
hearing.
100%. I don't think you need to invest millions into brand,
Mm,
but you need to at least answer who you are, why you matter, why are you different, and how are you going to beat your competitors, and what is your vision, you know if you are able to answer these questions,
hmm.
then you will that will make your life much simpler. We are building a house, right? We are building a family house where Manesh will go inside with his family, and will have kids. His dog will be there. His parents will be there. It's a family house that will last generations. Would you start building the house from the roof, or would you start building the house from the foundation? Right?
Foundation.
You will start
Yeah.
from. You want to have strong foundation. That foundation is your brand, right? You need to be able to have a strong internal alignment of what we're doing, how we're doing, and why we're doing, and why we matter. So then we can build one floor, second floor, third floor. We can build the roof, and then we can even expand it. The stronger the foundation are, the better the brand will live. And and maybe it's not about the website.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not about the PowerPoint and the presentation and everything. It's more about what is that core. What is that you're different. Many times I talk with this same startup that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask them, okay, what makes you different? Our product is better. Wrong. We are cheaper. Wrong. We are unique. I probably you haven't looked enough, because I can guarantee you're not. Your
Mm,
consumers are already buying by someone else, right? So I think goes back to them failing to understand that when we're talking about brand, we're not talking about color, shapes, and colors. We're talking about how strategically you will be able to win a market that already has a solution for the problem that you have. That's the reality. And Manesh, it doesn't matter if you're a startup or a Fortune 500 company. One of the most important things to understand is that how well your brand performs externally depends
hmm.
from how well is understood internally. And that is not the job of a product. The product will solve a problem, but the way that you put that product into the market in front of the consumer, that is what will drive all the rest. Because if you're thinking about competing only on product, I can guarantee you will have someone ultimately that will outsmart you. If you're thinking about competing only on network and going to events, it sooner or later it will dry out. Your
Hmm.
network will dry out. You will have to do something else. If you're thinking to compete about price, it's a race to the bottom. That is the reality. And lead generation and sales, they work really well. You should do lead generation and sales, but the problem with lead generation and sales is that they're expensive. The moment that you stop doing lead
Hmm.
generation and sales, the moment that you stop buying attention, you stop pouring money into it, it goes back to zero.
Yeah.
But CFO and CEO love it because they spend $1 and they get two. They understand it. But the moment
Yes.
you spend $0, you get $0. So it's a drug. It's an addiction. You want more and more and more and more, but it becomes more and more expensive. So what I'm proposing is to match lead generation, performance marketing, and sales with brand building. Match
Hmm.
buying attention with generating attention. So both of them go up there, but at some point, brand will be bigger than lead generation. So you will spend less budget on buying attention because you're generating attention. You are top of mind. right? I need a fractional CMO for iGaming. I know Manesh is the best, right? Because Manesh, between those years, he constantly was building his brand.
Mm-hmm.
He's top of mind for me. He lives rent free in my brain. When I have the problem he knows how to solve, and I know that he knows how to solve, I'm going to call him. I will not even do research, right? And the other issue between lead generation and brand is that it's proven that only 5%, sorry, of people are ready to purchase your product at any
Yeah.
given time. The other 95%, they might be interested at some point. They don't have
Yeah.
the need yet. So meaning that if I only do lead generation and sales, I'm only targeting 5% of the market that might be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wasting your budget, right? Because the majority of the people are not ready. So what do
Not in
we
the
do with
market.
the 95? Exactly. They're not in the market for the product and service you can sell. So what do we do with the rest of the 95%? Well, we build brand with them. We position ourselves as the best people to solve a problem that eventually they might
Mm-hmm.
have. So when they have that problem, they come to us. So we are not only creating a brand in order to help them understand that we are the best, but we're also creating a future customer, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that consumer, when it's ready, is gonna come to us. So that's the 95% rule, which is something that startups should really look into it deeply.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think, like, especially when we look at iGaming, why do you think that is still they don't take action, or even though everything is looking and feeling the same, why there is no interest to do something different or better? Why do you think is the whole why of that behind? Is it the nature of the industry? Is it because they always believed that if you go to an event, if you go to a trade show and have a big stand, you will you will be okay? Or what do you feel about the whole reluctant to kind of like act on it or something like this?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there is a lack of understanding of what actually brand really is, but also there is a belief of like, if ain't broken, don't fix it. If it's not
Ah,
broken, don't fix it, you know. So a lot of the companies that I work with, I work mostly with two type of companies, right? One
mm-hmm.
is a startup that did really well and now needs the ammunition, the weaponry, and
Okay.
finally the brand to go and play in the big league, you know. So there is a change. And the other one is organization that have been doing really well for the past 15, 20, 30, 65 years, but now something happened, you know. Usually
Okay.
there are new products, new competitors, or they are going global, they're adding new geography, so they're expanding, right? And they are seeing that operational efficiency, branding efficiency, differentiation, market share, market traction, market recall, you know, is kind of dropping down. And they starting to think, okay, so maybe now is a time to reevaluate ourselves. Usually these are companies where the product grow and the business grow, but the brand didn't. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
them, they tell me the brand that we have and the perception that we have does not represent who we became, right? So they did not have a strategy to move business and brand at the same time and be the best friends. So that's what we help them to do. So for them, it's an understanding of the importance of brand once they start see a few things going south or a few threats coming in.
Is there a reason why you work with only these two type of companies? Is it because you have seen a lot of startups try to convince, and you saw maybe this is an uphill battle and it's not worth working
Correct,
with a
correct. Yeah,
specific
yeah.
type of companies, you know?
Yeah, we because we called ourselves. I call myself a full stack brand builder, and
Mm-hmm.
Factory 39 is a strategic agency that builds brand and software. But in reality, we are change makers.
Mm-hmm.
We come at the intersection of change for ambitious company, right? You are at step A and you want to be at step C. We will help you make those steps and those transitions successful based
Right.
on strategy. You are at step C and you want to get at step H, we will do the same, right? Why? Because yes, in throughout my career, and the type of work that we
Mm-hmm.
do very deep brand strategy. We do market analysis, competitor analysis, positioning. We do business planning, and really understanding, if that's your vision, how can we reverse engineer a step by step strategic plan in order to get
Mm.
this get us there. We build internal team capabilities. We align the whole team. We make sure that the strategy is ubiquitous, but also integrated into the organization. So we do a lot of very deep work before even thinking about the design,
Yeah.
right? So that's where our value comes. We help businesses succeed through strategy, and then through building the brand. So in order to be able to go into this type of process, well, you need to have a solid product, you need to have a solid team, you need to have a solid go to market, but you also need to have an understanding that okay, in order to go to the next step,
Yeah.
we need to finally do things properly. And that's the best work that we usually do, in those transition, in those rebrands.
Mm-hmm. So, is there any proven way to kind of measure the real impact that brand drives
Yeah.
at different stages? This is something that I've been researching, but I would love to hear your thoughts.
The number one impact for a properly developed brand strategy is that we know who we are and what we're doing and why we matter more than us internally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean, my favorite story is that, and I've been sharing this a lot in a number of occasions over LinkedIn, is that story of JFK going to NASA, visiting the space center, and
Okay.
seeing the keeper of the building that was mopping the floor. He was fixing a broken bulb or whatever. And then the president, JFK, asked this person, "Hey, what are you doing at NASA?" And he stopped and he said, "Well, Mr. President, I'm helping to put a man on the moon."
Okay.
Right. So that level of organizational integration and understanding is required if you want to have a growing brand. So everyone inside of your business need to be aligned into the same brand strategy. So that's how you measure first, in terms of, does everyone know where we're going, what we're doing, and how we're doing, and they know what the strategy is. It also helps you attracting and retaining talent, which is a big issue now across all different organizations. If they
Mm-hmm.
understand what your brand stands for, if they understand what your brand can do, you'll be able to attract people that align internally with your culture, and you'll be able to also to retain them. That's again the work of a brand, internal branding. And then there are a number of ways that you can prove brand worth. For example, more than 90% of company assets right now are intangible. The
Yeah.
value and the valuation of a company is based on intangible assets. And among those intangible assets, there is also goodwill, which is how much is worth your brand beyond product, right? So how strong is your brand in terms of being able to drive purchase preference, be able to drive recurring purchase preference as well. And that's also how a lot of this brand value drives actual share value as well,
Mm-hmm.
into the market as well. But then the simplest way that you can start tracking your brand performance is at the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of your brand process or rebranding process or new brand strategy. You should start tracking brand recall, brand preference, brand awareness. How strong are you doing it versus competitor? And
Mm-hmm.
then once you implemented the new brand strategy, the new rebranding, and the new marketing activities based on this benchmarking that you've done at the beginning of the year, you can see how much better you're doing in terms of sales, how much better you're doing in terms of awareness, how much better you're doing in terms of attracting clients and also retaining clients.
One of the things I also understood along the process is anything that is not coming from the performance marketing is obviously related and is an impact driven by brand. What do you think about AI?
Oh, I love AI.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves it at the moment, but do you think it's going to change how we build the brands, and it's going to, it's going to be creative at some point, and we're going to have to try and become maybe something else, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I think it already does. It
Mm,
already changed the way that we work. Back in the days, we were needing to do months and months of research,
yeah.
desk research, even paper research to be able to formulate a brand audit. Right now, you can do it, much, much, much faster than that. Will we lose our jobs? I don't think so. I think our jobs will be made better. We'll be able to serve more clients more faster in a more efficient way. And the problem with AI is the following. AI is a great tool to support your work, but it's not the work.
Yeah.
AI is able to replicate things really well from a place of something that is already existing and is making it differently. But the whole concept about brand is differentiation. It's also a game of input and output, right? So the better input you give to this tool, the better you're able to use this tool, the better output you will give. But also, you cannot blind trust them. You cannot take that output and just vomit it back into the internet. Humans work is still very much needed. It's a technology that is still at its infancy, so it will definitely evolve. But I think smart brands are able to implement it. One thing that pisses me off is people that tells we have a brand strategy and they send me a document and it has mission, vision, purpose, value proposition, and I say, great, it's a collection of words. What is the actual strategy?
Mm,
What is that sentence that tells you how we will win?
mm-hmm.
What is it? Where is it? That is a strategy, right? So let's say you've done the strategy, you've done the guidelines, you've done the rebranding, you have a tone of voice, you have a framework of messaging, you have a
Yeah.
marketing strategy, you have a business strategy, you have all the components in place, all the guidance systems in place. Great. Let's train an AI bot on our language, on our brand guidelines, on our product features, and there are incredible amount of things you can do,
Absolutely.
and it will be amazing. Why? Because you gave it a very specific input, so you can get a very specific branded output. But if you open ChatGPT and you tell him build me a brand, it's gonna be fucking shit because it's just out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
But if you give him everything, then all of a sudden you created a branded AI chat that is able to help you and support. So you will not need 5 hours to
Yeah.
create 5 messages. You will need 5 minutes because you train
Absolutely.
you train you train that bot. So we live in wonderful times if you know how to use this tool properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Even for me, like for my work, it's been like a game changer. Exactly as you said, if we have the foundation strong, if we know what we want, if we know who we are, then it's super specific in terms of what we can achieve from AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think the branding is heading next 5 years? Or would you say, Manish, branding is going to stay the same for the next 500 years?
People don't know what they want. It's always been like that, right? There is that beautiful quote of Henry Ford that said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? We would have never had a car. People do not know what they want, but they have problems to solve, right? So markets are saturated. People don't
Mm-hmm.
know what they want. Differentiation is complicated. There is a lot of competition.
Mm-hmm.
People are also overstimulated.
Yeah.
Kids have ADHD. They are finding really hard to focus. Studies are saying that we have at least 7,000 brand touch points per day on
Wow.
different brands.
Yeah.
So our brains are in a mess. Work is hard, life is hard, we are overstimulated, we have little focus, little attention, markets are saturated, competitors are everywhere, the products are not that different. So these are all things that will not change for the next 10 years. They will not change for probably the next 20 years and perhaps for the
Yeah.
next 100 years. Probably it's going to get even more hard, more saturated, more stimulated, more noisy. So what does that tell us? That tells us that brand have a responsibility to become simpler.
Mm-hmm.
Brands have a responsibility to be able to communicate with users that do not have focus time, that do
Yeah.
not have attention. So that is the number one challenge of every single brand. First, being perceived differently from all the other competitors, even if your products and services are the same. And second, being able to interact with a consumer that has no attention. If they were going to invest into two things, I think be different from all others in your category,
Mm-hmm.
fundamentally different. If everyone is black, you should be white. If everyone is zigging, you should zag. And then as simple as possible. It's not about the MP3 music technology that allows you to store hundreds of songs and your
Yeah.
ability to share and compress music and yalla yalla yalla. It's 10,000 songs in your pocket. You know that famous advertisement from the iPod. That's the way it is. Great brands are simple brands, but
Mm-hmm.
simplicity is expensive and it's complex, right? You need a lot of clarity and a lot of brand strategy in order to be able to say something simpler. It's like that famous quote from Mark Twain, I
Naval.
think. That,
Yeah.
apologies, my friend, I did not have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one instead. It's the same
Mm.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, Naval said the same, something similar on the similar lines. He was like,
Yeah,
anyone can explain things in a complex manner. It's very
bravo.
hard to explain things in a very simple manner. People who don't know
Yeah.
what they're talking, they can talk in riddles. But people who understand really what it is, they can break it down into few words.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same way for branding as well. The least amount of words with the most amount of impact will benefit any organization in the world in any market nowadays.
Let's go back to a little bit into your founder journey and, the
Yeah,
way you've built Factory 39, right? Like, what was the moment where I know you worked for a lot of agencies in London and, you've done a lot of work for big brands, FIFA. So, what was kind of um, that moment for you to decide to do your own agency?
yeah, I was in London for about 10 years back then, and I was lucky enough to work with organizations and agencies of all different sizes and see the inside out of how branding gets built and how marketing gets built and how it gets shipped. And I realized that there is a lot of wastage of resources. I realized that
Mm-hmm.
people go very quickly into tactics without having figured out what's the actual strategy. I realized that we were building the houses from the roof
Yeah.
and the color of the walls instead of actually going from the strategy. Sometimes it was working well, sometimes was disastrous. The
Mm-hmm.
clients was hating it, the agency was hating it, the designers were hating it. Everyone was hating it because we were kind of like we were shooting in the dark. We were hoping that they would like the concept. Sometimes it was
Right.
going well, sometimes not. Lots of revision rounds, lot of changes. No, let's go back to square one. Months and months and money and frustration. And I realized, there must be a better way to do that.
Yeah.
And back then I was a designer. I loved it, and I still design. I'm mostly art directing now because I have a team of designers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm most of my days in meetings now. So I realized, okay, so what is it missing? And I started
Yeah.
researching in design facilitation. I started researching in business planning. I started researching in design sprints. I started researching into strategy, and then I stumbled upon brand strategy. And then I realized, okay, so here's how we're gonna be making brand and brand identity a business tool, not a vanity tool, something that generates business results and organizational results on all different levels in every single division versus something that just looks good. And I
Mm-hmm.
put and I put all my efforts and I put my efforts into that. And I decided to move to Cyprus because I was tired of London. I was tired of the hustle. I was tired of the big city
Any
life.
reason
I
for
wanted.
Cyprus? Because there's like other big cities in Europe and
Yeah, I know. I met my girlfriend in London from Cyprus.
mm,
I got to love the Cypriot community. I came for holidays in Cyprus. It's by the sea. We have
oh wow.
340 days of sun
Yes.
versus 340 days of rain of the UK. So I said, yeah, why not? The whole business and legal framework is the same as the British one. So for us was quite easy. Taxes
Mm-hmm.
are lower. You live by the sea. It's safe. It's beautiful. Why not? We were able to retain most of our British clients,
Yeah.
and Cyprus is a really strong up and coming business hub as well for tech,
Okay.
for iGaming. You know, a lot of companies are moving from Malta into Cyprus
Mm-hmm.
because apparently Cyprus, even though it's small, it's 33 times bigger than Malta.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Maltese people come to here and they say, "Oh my God, there is so much space. Oh my God, the traffic is so good." I hate the traffic in Cyprus. I find it ridiculous. But when I went to visit Malta, I understood. Okay, Malta is much
Yes.
worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are actually the European capital for gaming as well, and
Uh-huh.
one of the top three
Like the
gaming in the
traditional
world as
gaming.
well. Traditional gaming, you know, online,
Okay.
offline, mobile, and
Esports.
computer and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Yeah, all sort.
Interesting.
So it was good. Then you know, COVID happened, the ups
Oh
and
yeah.
downs. You know, a lot of that. But we are now in Cyprus for about 7 years. It
Wow.
was just me and my business partner at the beginning. Now we have a team of about 30 people.
So how do you hire people who can match your level of creativity and vision and
Yeah,
obsession? I wouldn't say
yeah.
obsession, but maybe more like passionate. Because
No,
I
no,
work with a
obsession is
lot
the right
of.
word.
So you understand me because I believe personally, like if we want to achieve world class outcomes, we need to have world class commitment to
Amen.
results.
It's very hard. I met people with uh, a natural level of the same time of obsession. You know, maybe I can count them on the fingers of one hand. I hire passion and grit. You know, I hire people that love the job, that are interested to learn,
Hmm.
and they want to do the work. Those are the people that I hire. I don't care about the university. I don't care about the background. I actually
Yeah.
prefer people that did not do a traditional university journey, that they tried a few things and they figured things by themselves, because these are people that actually have hands-on real life experience, and those are the people that I value, that will be able to
Be more
problem solve on
creative.
the get-go. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Problem solve creatively. And then we coach them, we teach them the frameworks. You know, if someone has a passion,
Yeah.
if someone loves this job, and they understand how lucky they are that they get to work 60 years Monday to Friday on a job that they love. If they understand that, these people can learn anything, and these are the people I want to spend my life with, and I will give them my frameworks, I will coach them, I will train them, as
Hmm.
long as they are passionate enough, and they really want it. So I think even nowadays it's becoming much harder to find those people.
Especially in Gen
But
Z,
that's
their working
yeah,
style and what we are seeing now is slightly different. Even and I'm looking at few teams and the way
it
the
is.
hirings are going, and because they know and they understand that they can build their own media at any time just through their mobile. So if someone is on their path to kind of like create their own creative agency or something, do you have any
Yeah,
specific advice for founders who want to start their own thing? It's something like maybe, oh, I wish I knew this when I first created Factory 39.
I wish I knew the importance of personal brand when I first created Factory 39. You know,
Uh-huh.
I started Factory 39 where I was still in my introverted um, part of my journey, where I did not have a brand, and I was not sharing content, and I wish I would have started earlier. My advice to anyone building any type of business is, your personal brand is a super weapon that you should use on the advantage of your organization. I myself, I do zero ads, zero
Yeah.
spending. All the work that I'm getting is because of the personal brand that I build. You know, that is my number one funnel. But also, funny you said Gen Z. This is a generation that it's tired of brands, it's tired of companies, it's tired of big CEOs, it's tired of the British Petroleum and all that bullshit, and all this corporation trying to polish things up. They are very smart, they are very
Hmm.
savvy, and they do not want to connect anymore with very polished fake marketing advertisement. You know,
They
they want to
don't.
connect with people. They want to connect with CEOs that struggled, that have issues, they are unpolished, that they are humans. They want to connect with brands that are real, honest, they stand for something. Maybe they fuck it up every now and then, but this is what they want. And that's why I'm saying why we are living in the age of brand, not in the age
Hmm.
of product. We're living in the age of connection, emotional relevance, and be able to mean something for someone. And we yearn, the more AI we have, the more technology we have, the more human connection
Yeah.
we create.
So that's like the main thing you would advise. Start your personal brand, focus on it as soon as possible so that you kind of reduce that time to flywheel, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, but
Yeah.
you'll also be able to attract the right partners at the beginning as well. If you're honest
Hmm.
with yourself, if your personal brand is a good representation of your physical brand, right? If your digital
Yeah.
image represents well your physical image as well, that will also help you to attract investment, attract partners, attract people that want to work with you. At Factory 39, and we get a lot of interns and a lot of people that want to come to work because they've been following my content, right?
Yeah.
They understand what type of company it is, what type of projects we do, and what is our philosophy. So, and that is the same for the clients. You know, I love the work that I do because my personal brand helps me to be myself externally and share my philosophy of brand building. And when people connect with it, they come to me and they want to work with me. Am I the smarter person in the world? No. Am I the best person in the world for this? No. But I have my way, and
Yeah.
my way sometimes matches with someone else's way. So when they come and I said, I want to work with Martin, I want to work with Factory 39 because I get them and I know how they do things, and these are the people that I need. And again, that's brand, whether it's personal or corporate. That's the magic of it.
Mm. Because they believe in what you believe, they kind of relate to what you're
Yeah.
saying, and it becomes
Yeah.
easy to kind of like work with you. Yeah.
It becomes
Totally.
it becomes a no-brainer. Are we the cheapest? No. Do we have the best products and service? We are good, but probably not the best. But we have our own way, our own belief, our own brand. We do
Hmm.
things in a certain way. We believe in this, we don't believe in that. We love this, we hate that. So all of that makes us relatable, makes us humans, makes us matter to some people less than others. One of another of the big mistakes is like you should not be a brand for everyone. You should be a brand for some people.
Yeah.
Some people should love you, some people should hate you, but if no one hates you, it means that no one loves you. That's also the reality, right? You should be able to stand for something. And that's what we want. That's what people want nowadays. They want real stuff, real brands, real humans.
So what do I do when sometimes the like keeping up with the consistency, or
Uh-huh.
it takes some time to kind of like see results with the LinkedIn or even the personal brand. Like, I think you've been doing
Yeah.
it for what, 5 years, as you said, and probably it takes a long time to kind of hit that five wheel. So during that moment, not every day is the same. Monday is not the same as Friday. So during those low moments, whatever might be happening in life, how do we like keep going? How do we like keep pushing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's hard, isn't it? I think entrepreneurship is hard, right? Building something of value is very hard. The good days are really good, the bad days are really bad. I'm a
Hmm.
LinkedIn top voice. People told me I influence, even though I don't know what the fuck that means. I have 35,000 followers, and people started to ask me those questions and everything. And I said, I don't think anything changed. I believe it's you need to have a good support network. You need to
Mm.
have good people behind you that are able to tap on your shoulder and say, hey, you know what? It's okay. It's gonna be fine. I believe in you. I have wonderful people in my life that keep me on track. I have
Mm.
fans and supporters, in my family and in my friends. Um, and then having a vision, you know, having a vision, it's
Mm.
a terrific tool. It's a business tool. How can you dream about something if you don't know what it is? How
Mm.
can you score a goal if you don't know where the goal is? So I think that really helps. And there will be bad days, there will be good days. there will be people supporting you, there will be people dragging you down, but that doesn't change. That will be always the case. I think what I try to do is, try to be consistent, and try to have a cadence, put stuff out there in a way that will be useful. And but you know what, Manesh, sometimes people text me and said, "Hey, Martin, your content changed my life. Your content changed my career.
Wow.
You know how much this was needed. Martin, I was thinking about it for a long time, and this made my day because someone else's thinks that way." I have people that never commented, and when they find me, they say, "Hey, Martin, I've been following you for 5 years. I love your content, and it helped me a lot.
Right.
Please keep doing it." And I think that's priceless. It's I think if you're doing it from a perspective of helping others, the gratification that you get, it's much more than the moments that you're feeling down.
Any founder, any marketer that really inspires you in the space, across any industries?
I like Rory Sutherland, out of
Yeah.
UK. I think he's a master. He's a genius. He's a
Yeah.
professor of neuroscience and neuromarketing, and the way his storytelling, it's amazing. I had it on my show on LinkedIn as well. I love
Hmm.
Mark Ritson
Okay.
because he's a bastard, and he just shoots straight, and I love his style. He's a really smart person, that says things as they are. I love Chris Do. Chris Do was a big foundational element of my journey from design into strategy. Who else is out there? Well, Martin Neumeyer, my mentor of branding, and with
Hmm.
whom I, became a certified brand strategist and certified brand architect. Wes Henstock, my friend and brother, where we collaborate together along, on many projects. Ash Rathod as well. So there are many, many people out there, and I probably forget many others. I like to steal like an artist.
Hmm.
So I will take 10 sources,
Yeah.
remix them, and add my flavor. And I think that's the best way. I think we live in a world where the information is there. We just
Yes.
need to go and take it, make it, and then package it, and then add our own spin into it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you for dropping those names. I'm gonna check out a few as well. I like Rory. I
Yeah.
follow him on
Rod is
TikTok.
great.
He does really like snappy short videos. I go TikTok and watch marketing things. I don't know, like because my feed is all of branding and marketing. I get only those things. So um,
Yeah, yeah. Rory is a genius, and he's a great storyteller. He has a beautiful way to articulate complex ideas in a way that everyone understands it.
and obviously the British accent makes it even more clear. So
Yeah.
yeah. Any book you would like to drop before we close up? For anyone watching who would love to get started
What am I?
with branding, building a brand for long term, and to get started
Right,
on this
right.
journey.
So that is a great question. So if you want to get started, I think you need to start from Martin Neumeyer's book. There is the brand gap, the brand flip, and Zag. So these are really short books. Actually, I have the brand flip in here, and
Yeah,
it's a book that has lots of diagrams and
interesting.
visualization, charts, and I think these three books, Zag, Flip, and the brand gap, are the foundation for any brand builder. To the point that, Manesh, when we are doing brand strategy workshop, I give those books to the people I work with because it's a really good foundation. The brand gap is a bit older now, but the philosophy in it is it's still really, really good. So I think that is the book that I will start with. And then there are a number of books that they talk about. Playing to Win is also good. Again,
Mm,
we had Roger Martin on our show, so Playing to
okay.
Win is also really good. But this is more about strategy and about
Whole
a
business.
strategic frameworks that help you create strategies that are not only be able to come to life, but actually have a competitive strategic edge to it. So it's a really good framework. And yeah, I have tons in here, but I think your question was more about getting started, and those three books by Martin Neumeyer are perfect, and really fast reads as well, which is what I like.
Perfect. Fantastic. Because, some people were asked me and I told them like, listen, start with following Martin on LinkedIn and
Thank you.
and because you can keep consuming content every day, and obviously there are big books, and some people love to read books, some people love to watch podcasts, everyone has a different way.
Yep.
But yeah, Martin, this was gold. Like, so many of us talk about branding, but I think you have a very specific way of explaining it without any
Thank you, buddy.
BS, any fluff. So to everyone watching, if you're building a company in any niche, iGaming, SaaS, or any competitive market, this is your reminder. Stop hiding, start branding, as Martin would say. So you can find Martin on LinkedIn and check out his agency as well, factory39.io. And if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. So more real conversations on the way. See you soon.